What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to the Jay All Day Show. We're going to continue my series breaking down every single NFL game for week one of the upcoming 2024 NFL season. In today's episode, we're going to break down the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Brazil to potentially be a preview of a NFC Championship game at the end of the season. This is going to be a really good game. We're going to break down what they did in the draft, how they match up against each other, and who I ultimately think is going to win this game. Stick around. All right, NFL fans, I am extremely excited for this game. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but man, the Packers are really good, and I'm really excited to watch them play this year. If you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, it really does help us get into the algorithm so all these Packers and Eagles fans can see this video. And also, don't forget, you got to subscribe. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. All right, let's get into this Birds-Packers game. Let's go. All right, NFL fans, we are having an opening weekend Friday game for the first time since like 1970 on September 6th. Kickoff 8:15 on the East Coast, 5:15 on the West Coast. Eagles, Packers. This is going to be a great game. And if you look at the power ranks and all the metrics of these teams, they're very, very similar. Run plays are both 40%. Both pass plays around 60%. Average offensive snaps pretty close to each other. 65 for the Packers, 68 for the Birds. You compare these quarterbacks, Jordan Love had a really good second half of the year. Jalen Hurts had a really good first half of the year and struggled in the second half. So it's a tale of two seasons for these teams. Right now, the Eagles are 1.5 point favorites. Over-unders coming in at 48.5. It's pretty close, man. PFF graded Jordan Love at 83.6. Hurts at an 86.7 last year. Clean pockets, about the same. Jordan Love comes in at 102. Hurts at 98. But the big difference between these two quarterbacks is under pressure. Passer rating under pressure for Jalen Hurts, only 74.8 and 83.7 for Jordan Love. He looked incredible towards the end of last season. I was very impressed, especially because the Packers started out a little slow. And man, he really turned it on. Him and their head coach really got that symbiotic relationship going. And I look for Jordan Love to have another great year with the Packers. Turnover-worthy plays about the same too. 2.49 for Jordan Love, 2.31 for Jalen Hurts. Power rating 4.54 for Jalen Hurts. Power rating rank 10 for Jordan Love, 12 for Jalen Hurts, man. And I think both of these teams had really good drafts, so let's get into these teams' draft picks from April. Both of these teams, in my opinion, had top 5 drafts in this year's draft class, man. The Packers absolutely crushed it, and so did the Eagles. We're going to start with the Packers first. In the first round, this is probably one of my least favorite picks in the first round. Jordan Morgan is okay. He's a big guy, 6'5", 311. He was a college left tackle. He's probably going to move inside. I don't know if his quickness is good enough to remain at left tackle. I definitely don't see him as a left tackle, maybe right tackle, and probably I think most people think he's going to end up playing guard. And then in the second round, they had my favorite defensive player in this entire draft is Edgerrin Cooper, man. Go watch the tape on him. I would love to show it, but I'll get copyright flagged. But man, Edgerrin Cooper is an absolute monster. The fact that he fell to the second round all the way down to pick 13 blew my mind, man. He's an absolute beast, 6'2", 230 pounds. I was praying to the gods that the Eagles got Edgerrin Cooper, but they passed. They went D-back instead of linebacker, but oh my gosh. He's so good. But it says the Packers released Devondre Campbell and 2022 first-round pick. Quay Walker has just been okay. He's a pretty mediocre player, but Edgerrin Cooper, in my opinion, the best inside linebacker in this draft by a long shot. What an amazing pick. If you're a Packers fan, you have to be over the moon with this pick. And another guy who I thought had first-round potential from his tape was safety Javon Bullard from Georgia, man. He's a punch you in the face, hit you in the mouth kind of safety. He could play the slot as well. Pretty decent size, 5'11", 198. Georgia Bulldogs are known for having good, gritty defenders. I mean, the Eagles got a lot of Georgia Bulldogs as well, but man, this is another great pick. After they addressed offensive line and linebacker, they needed another safety, so they went in and got Bullard. He's physical. He's a really talented guy. I think he can play the slot. He can play both safety positions. Very, very, very good pick. I love that pick. Then they went running back Marshawn Lloyd in the third round from USC. Solid player, too. I like his size, 5'9", 220. Then they went Hopper, another linebacker from Missouri. Then they went Oregon, another safety. I was surprised in the fourth round they went safety again. I thought there were some good offensive linemen still on the board in the fourth round. Then they went center, another safety in the fifth round. Offensive tackle Glover. I don't understand why they took so many safeties. I don't really get that, but overall, all these picks in the first, second, and third round, they pretty much hit it out of the park with every one of these picks. I love these picks. All right, everyone, let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles draft class. One of the best, if not the best draft class in the entire NFL, in my opinion. The fact that Howie Roseman was able to not make any moves and get Quinyon Mitchell at 22, who has been far and away the best cornerback in this draft. It's not even close. Even in minicamp, he's like talking shit to A.J. Brown. He's having a really good minicamp. He's tough. He's physical. He's that corner. He's got that attitude that you really want from a top-of-the-line cornerback who's going to be going against these beast number one wide receivers. And in minicamp and training camp, he gets to go against two excellent NFL wide receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith that are only going to make him better. And then somehow, Cooper DeJean fell to the Eagles. Round 2, pick number 8. They traded up to get Cooper DeJean. Amazing, amazing pick. Probably the two best defensive backs in this entire draft landed with Philadelphia, who we all know the secondary last year was complete trash. James Bradbury has now moved to safety. I look for him to get cut in training camp. He's not a cornerback anymore at the NFL level. He was horrible last year. Darius Slay is getting older, but he's still playing at an elite-ish level, in my opinion. And these two kids, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, get to learn from Darius Slay and James Bradbury, who at one point was an all-pro cornerback, right? Then Jalen Hunt's kind of the wild card here in the third round. We don't know how this pick, maybe they overdrafted a little bit on him, but he's got all the tools to be a great outside linebacker, edge defender kind of hybrid. And Vic Fangio really, really liked his tape in college, so that's why they picked him. And then Will Shipley, the running back, has great hands coming out of the backfield. And he's going to be like the change of pace guy from Saquon Barkley. They're going to use him a lot on third down, I think. They'll probably use Shipley and Saquon on third down. Really mix it up, give these defenses all these different looks to address. And then Aeneas Williams, who can compete for that number 3 wide receiver position for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another great pick. He was really impressive. He's definitely a slot guy, though, 5'10", 200 pounds. And then Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I think he fell a lot farther in the draft than most people think, but he's got a really high missed tackle rate, so he's got to address that moving forward. Another pick I really love for the Eagles, man. Offensive guard Trevor Keegan from Michigan, fallen into the late 5th round, 6'6", 311 pounds. He's an absolute beast, man. He's probably going to be like a swing backup guard right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he definitely has starting potential. I love this pick for the Eagles. And then Johnny Wilson, big, tall, lengthy wide receiver from Florida State, and then they went offensive guard Dylan McMahon from NC State. The next thing I want to do is break down the offseason moves for both the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. First, we're going to start with the Green Bay Packers, who went 9-8 last year, 12th in points scored, 10th in points allowed. PFF ranks them the 13th overall team, tied for 9th in offense, 21st in defense, and they really need to improve on special teams, ranking 26th. All right, let's move on. The Green Bay Packers didn't do a whole lot in free agency. They let Darnell Savage, the safety, walk. John Runyon, which is a big loss from the offensive line, in my opinion, he walked as well. And Ninjama, the tackle, also walked. They brought in and re-signed A.J. Dillon. They brought in Josh Jacobs, which I think was a terrible move. They also let Aaron Jones walk. I don't know why that isn't on the PFF page, but that's a huge loss. He was a very, very effective runner last year for the Green Bay Packers. And A.J. Dillon and Josh Jacobs, in my opinion, are not at Aaron Jones' level. And the big free agent acquisition for the Green Bay Packers, Xavier McKinney coming over from the Giants. Huge signing. The dude's not even 25 yet. How did the Giants let him walk? It just blows my mind. The Giants are an absolute dumpster fire of an organization. Letting a guy like Xavier and McKinney walk was a terrible decision, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles gave up 428 points, which ranked 30th. This defense from last year was an absolute dumpster fire. They were trash. Trash linebackers, terrible cornerback play. Okay safety play, but man, those linebackers for the Birds are trash, and it really didn't get much better, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we match these teams up and see where the advantages are for both teams. PFF graded them 6th overall, offense 6th, defense 13th somehow. They had a pretty decent defensive line, I think that's why, and 5th on special teams. All right, let's go on to the offseason and see what the Philadelphia Eagles did, right? Unfortunately for the Eagles, we had a bunch of big losses. Jason Kelce retired. Fletcher Cox retired. Big losses for the Philadelphia Eagles. DeAndre Swift went to Chicago. Nick Morrow, one of the linebackers, is not with the team anymore. Quez Watkins is gone as well. And the swing backup tackle, Sua Aperta, is gone as well. They re-signed Brandon Graham. They brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They acquired Bryce Huff from the Jets, signed him to a multi-year deal. Very good player. They brought in linebacker Devin White. I think he might, I don't know. I don't know if he's cooked or not. We'll have to see. Oren Burks they brought in. These linebackers are just not good enough. They also brought in Paris Campbell, Zach Bond, and the big free agent acquisition for the Birds this year was bringing in running back Saquon Barkley, who I think is going to have a really big year for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, the next thing I want to do is go over the depth charts for both teams, compare the two teams, and see where I think there could be some advantages or disadvantages for both of these teams. First, we're going to start out with the Packers on offense and the Eagles on defense. Man, the Eagles linebackers are complete trash. Complete trash, right? I don't know, man. White and Bond are not the dudes, man. The Eagles missed again. So Slay's going to be on the outside. Cooper DeJean's probably going to be in the slot and outside. Ringo could be there. Isaiah Rodgers is in play there as well. But I do think Quinyon Mitchell is going to ultimately start on the outside for the Eagles. He's just been way too good in camp. And the Eagles' best player on defense is without a doubt Jalen Carter. And that's where I see this defense having a little bit of advantage, is this D-line against the Packers' offensive line. On the inside, they really struggle. Right tackle, Tom is like their best player right now. But the offensive line, leaves a little bit to be desired. The young wide receiver crew, Dobbs, Reed, and Watson, very effective players. Josh Jacobs, I don't know, man. He was horrible last year with the Raiders. I just don't see it. And Jordan Love was excellent last year, man. I think him and Watson should have a big day. And I look for them to kind of get Musgrave involved a little bit from the tight end position. You attack the Eagles in the middle of the field with these linebackers and safeties. Blankenship is decent. And you go after the cornerbacks, man. You're going to have probably a rookie starting on the outside, a rookie starting in the slot, and then Darius Slay. So in my opinion, Watson needs to have a big game, right? They can try to establish the run, but I don't know if that's the best way to win this game. I think if Jalen Carter can wreak havoc, it could be potentially a long day for Jordan Love in this offense. But I honestly think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game, guys. All right, now let's move on to the Eagles on offense and the Packers on defense. The Packers need a little help on the D-line as well. Not super great. Alexander is their best player, in my opinion. Him and McKinney are great. They really address the secondary. Their linebackers are a little suspect as well. But look for Edgerrin Cooper to start at linebacker. These guys, Walker and McDuffie, are not those dudes. Cooper is better than both these guys. These depth charts are before training camp starts, so there's going to be a lot of changes as we get closer to the season happens. But I'm just doing this as a little exercise, guys. But this Eagles offense on paper looks pretty damn good with Smith and A.J. Brown on the outside. I don't know who's going to play the slot. Is it going to be Paris Campbell? Is it going to be Ainias Smith? I'm not sure how that works out. But Barkley in the backfield, Hurts at quarterback. The Eagles probably have the best left tackle, right tackle tandem in the NFL with Jordan Mailata and the best right tackle in the NFL, Lane Johnson. But a lot of moving parts. We're going to have a new starting center in Cam Jurgens, a new starting right guard in Tyler Steen. Dallas Goedert has kind of been regressing a little bit too. So I don't know how much longer we're going to see Dallas Goedert with the Eagles unless he bounces back, right? Or is he going to travel with A.J. Brown? We'll have to see how that works out. But whoever Alexander is not covering should eat, whether that be Smith or Brown. But these guys kind of line up. They interchange. They mix it up. A.J. and Devontae both run some routes out of the slot as well. So I do think the Eagles have a little bit of an advantage on offense. We'll have to see how they integrate that new Kellen Moore offense, guys. That's why I think the Packers might be able to move the ball a little bit. The Eagles have a new 3-4 scheme. They played a 3-4-ish scheme last year, but this is a true 3-4 kind of shell Vic Fangio scheme. He doesn't blitz a lot, so that could give Jordan Love some time to find some holes in this zone, guys. Okay, so now, who do I ultimately think wins this game in Brazil? I think it's going to be a really close game. It's going to be a 23-20, 27-24, 2017 type of game, in my opinion. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles do just enough. I think Jalen Carter is going to wreak havoc on this offensive line, guys. There's no one in the interior of this offensive line that can block Jalen Carter. He was unbelievable in his rookie season. He's going to even be better in year 2. I love Jalen Carter. Look for him to have a big day, and if he's getting pressure from the inside, they're going to have to double him and then look for Huff and Brandon Graham to get after the quarterback, guys. I think the Eagles win this game. My prediction is going to be 21-17. The Philadelphia Eagles get a W against a very good Green Bay Packers team. But honestly, it could be 21-17 the other way, and I could very well see Jordan Love getting a victory as well. It's going to be a very close game. This is going to be one of the best games to watch in Week 1. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win this game, and why do you think they're going to win? I would love to hear your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks again. Peace.